on elevating your CMDB 3C Health Dashboards and learning the key features of Zanadu in CMDB Workspace. Please note this is part 2 of the CMDB series we're doing, and I'll be happy to do a recap where we covered what we covered in the first part in case you missed it. And of course, you can go to royalcyber.com, click on resources, and watch the on-demand version, specifically what we covered in part 1. My name is Imran, and I spearhead the Digital Transformation Division at Royal Cyber. And with me, I have Mark Bodman, who is serving as a Senior Product Manager of CMDB at ServiceNow. Mark, thanks again for sharing your wisdom and knowledge with our audience in this exciting CMDB series. I appreciate your time.
My pleasure, and great to do this again. Thank you.
Beautiful. And then with me, I also have Manideep from our ServiceNow practice team, who has joined us today, and we'll be delivering a demo of the CMDB Workspace with the Zanadu key features that we want our audience to leverage. Manideep, thank you.
Thank you, Imran. Happy to be here.
Excellent. Today's agenda, for those of you joining this CMDB series for the first time, I'll cover a little bit about who we are, what do we do. I'll jump right into doing a quick recap of what we did on the first CMDB event. After that, I'll walk through the CMDB Health Dashboard as far as what are the 3C Health Dashboards across compliance, accuracy, and what are the underlying key metrics that ServiceNow customers should take a look at. Also very excited for the Zanadu release that just came out a few days ago. Everybody is talking about it. It is the biggest release by ServiceNow so far. So Mark Bodman is going to walk us through a little bit about the strategy as far as the CMDB Workspace key features, some major releases, the value it brings, and how to leverage those. And after that, we'll walk through a live demo of the consolidated new revamped CMDB Workspace, how to identify the key metrics, how to go about remediating a little bit about those across those 3 donut charts that you'll see in your CMDB Workspace. Towards the end, there will be a Q&A, just like part 1, and we got a lot of great, tough questions. We love tough questions. So, of course, as you go along, feel free to submit your questions, and we'll make sure to address those questions as we go along. Okay, so who is Royal Cyber? What do we do, and what are the core expertise? From a ServiceNow perspective, we are a global premier partner and serving customers for over 12 years. I have a separate slide to walk us through that. But overall, as a Royal Cyber, we are a digital transformation solutions provider based out of Chicago, and we're present globally, and we're serving over 600 customers, mostly Fortune 50 and Fortune 100 customers. From a technology partnerships perspective, we work with MuleSoft, AWS, IBM, SAP, Salesforce, ServiceNow, Oracle, Microsoft. So we're able to knit everything together as far as the enterprise architecture and platforms goes. From a practice perspective or our core expertise perspective, really 5 pillars: cloud, middleware integration, moving from legacy to modernized enterprise modernization landscape, DevOps and automation, specifically hyper-automation utilizing UiPath, App Engine, Automation Anywhere, and many other platform, low-code, no-code platforms that our customers are utilizing today. And finally, data and analytics. These are some of our customers. While we are industry agnostic, we still have a deeper intelligence as far as banking, finance, healthcare, retail, manufacturing, education, and a few emerging sectors as well. As we work with enterprises, we understand the key problem areas. Once we understand the landscape, we turn those problem areas into solutions, which we look to package for our future customers. So one of the great examples I'll call out today is a Copilot ServiceNow Navigator that really complements Now Assist, but it kind of goes a little bit beyond just ServiceNow. So for those customers that are utilizing ServiceNow but have other platforms such as SAP, Workday, Salesforce, and many other platforms, this solution allows everyone to stitch everything together using LLM graph connectors and asking natural language understanding and natural language processing questions that queries in from your platform database. These are some of our major ServiceNow customers. Some of these are big customers working with large-scale projects, Capital One, Humana, Bombardier, IHS Markit, and so on. Really proud of the fact that we are one of the top recognized by Gartner as a consulting and implementation and managed services partner. And certainly we would like for you to leverage our expertise and see how we can help you strategically. From a ServiceNow partnership perspective, we are, like I said, a global premier partner, and our skills are really into technology workflows, customer workflows, HR workflows. One of the other things we have done over the course of years and projects we have delivered are unique integrations. So in other words, anything that is not available out of the box in the integration hub or spoke, or even in the spoke, we're able to create those integration layers between multiple platforms that sits between those platforms within ServiceNow. From a ServiceNow practice, we've been in this space for over 12 years. We've delivered over successful 100 projects with enterprise customers, and we have over 150 ServiceNow SME experts ready to serve your needs. For our offerings, we are conducting a lot of projects across managed services, resale of licenses, cost-effective resources, very flexible with our contracting options and global delivery capabilities. So what we really did as a recap of CMDB webinar, we started with what is CMDB. So for those of you who are starting out new as a CMDB manager or a SACM analyst, or transitioning your roles, or reconfiguring your CMDB, the part one was a great exercise. So CMDB is primarily a data repository, used to store information describing configuration items or CIs, as well as asset-related information. So some of these CI relationships across these devices you'll see would be storage, printers, network switches, asset information, application relationships, computing devices, end user devices, and a lot more. And then from part one, we took a deeper dive into the 3 pillars of CMDB under ingestion, governance, and insight. So under governance, we took a look at the CMDB Data Manager, attestation, and the data certification importance, CI Class Manager, CMDB 360. Then we take a look at the Unified Map, CMDB Query Builder, Intelligent Search, and then lastly, we covered CMDB Search leveraging NLQ or natural language queries. So I highly encourage you to go back and take a look at part one if you're interested to learn more about these functionalities that we covered in part one. A little bit about CMDB Health Dashboard. Before I hand this over to Mark, I just want to cover a little bit about what are the important key metrics that are part of these 3 components. It starts with 3 areas: completeness, compliance, and correctness. Now, of course, it lives in your ServiceNow platform, but what does it really mean? So completeness, it ensures that all mandatory fields in configuration items are properly populated. Some of the common metrics it includes are percentages of CIs with missing mandatory fields, number of incomplete records per CI type, trending data showing improvement or degradation in data completeness. Then we have compliance in the workspace. Measures whether CIs adhere to your organization policies, processes, and standards. Some of the common metrics across compliance, under compliance, are percentage of CIs that meet naming conventions, number of CIs that comply with organizational security standards, and the rate of compliance over time broken out by CI classes. And then finally, we have correctness that verifies CIs representing accurate and up-to-date information about the underlying services assets and relationships with the organizations. Some of the common metrics, health metrics to evaluate would be percentages of CIs, percentage of CIs with accurate relationships, number of CIs flagged for incorrect data, such as duplicate entries, misclassified CIs, and so on. And then lastly, audit logs tracking correction history over time. I won't cover all the benefits and the key features. If you're watching this webinar on demand, you certainly can feel free to press the pause button and take a look at some of the features that you should be leveraging and understanding in the CMDB workspace. And with that, I am going to pass this mic over to Mark to give us a walkthrough of the strategy of Zanadu, as well as the key features that were rolled out in the release that our customers can leverage today. Mark, take it away.
So thank you for inviting me to the session. So this is a release, we call these release Delta trainings that we do internally, and this is also something that we're going to be putting out onto YouTube, but you got me here to provide this live as part of your session. And I do cover CMDB, CSDM, and Service Graph connectors, so this is just going to be an outline of everything in Zanadu that our team has delivered, and we're going to take that deep dive after this, of course, into the new health dashboards. So we kind of split this down into like some major new features, minor features. So these are the three key things that we're actually implementing in Zanadu and Q4. So we kind of look at the family release and the quarter, because we do have non-family release elements too that are coming in Q4 that aren't Zanadu. So that's all part of this discussion. The first one is Service Graph Connector Central. It's a new workspace feature that helps to manage all things about your Service Graph connectors, from finding new ones in the store to configuring them and testing them to make sure they work, to seeing the level of data that's coming in or any kind of errors and troubleshooting. So this new Service Graph Connector Central is a new workspace feature that will show up. I have it installed on my instance, and will allow you to kind of manage those connectors much more centrally, as the name implies. So you don't have to bounce around between the store to do one thing versus another area to troubleshoot and yet another area to configure connectors. So it's one-stop shop for everything to do with Service Graph connectors. The second one, this is the one that we're going to be diving into in a little bit more detail, which is the new health and dashboards. The other mention here is there's a data foundations dashboards that is separate from the health dashboards that have been in the platform forever. That was the data foundations dashboards was only available in the store, and now it's shipping. So by default, as of Zanadu, when you upgrade, you will also get the new data foundations dashboards as well. They are completely separate. They're configured and used in a different way. We're going to focus on health dashboards today, and those are kind of been ported into the workspace. So they used to be part of the navigator based on PA, but all that has kind of moved into workspace proper. I'll have a quick update on the new Service Graph connectors and updates of those. We have a lot of connectors out there. People are getting those up and running in a matter of days or weeks versus months if you wanted to do this on your own with your own integration technologies, right, using IHETL or whatnot. So just a quick overview of what's coming there. Some of the minor new features that we've got: application services and CI dashboards, and this is in the new user experience. So the old forms and lists that we have in the navigator are now starting to open up workspaces where appropriate, where we have that linkage. So we're kind of defaulting to the workspace for more and more, and replacing what was in the forms and list views that navigator has always been. So you're going to see a big transition to workspace in general for more and more stuff, and this is just incremental. CMDB 360 and performance improvements. This is where you can turn on this feature and see the raw data coming in from each connector. So let's say you have 4 connectors where you're bringing data about servers. This CMDB 360 is sort of an important tool to see the differences in data coming in from each source, and that was just an important performance improvement on how we're able to analyze that source data when you're troubleshooting what's going on or not going on for that matter. CSDM lifecycle migration improvements, we've made some changes to how that works, and there's a key process now to migrate to the new life cycles. There's a step in this process. We've added a report to give you an indication on whether or not you've got all those mappings set up properly or not. And so that's in this release as well. The Data Foundations dashboard itself had some enhancements, so we had a number of bug fixes. What this is really doing, the Data Foundations dashboard, is our perspective on your data, your health. So you can't really change any of those scores. There's a knowledge book, there's a knowledge-based article that allows you to see what's the common root cause, and have a playbook to be able to address these anomalies. So it's something we can maybe cover in another session, but yeah, that is a whole other beast, different than the health dashboards. And the last thing to really talk a little about is the Now Assist for CMDB. We do have some Now Assist skills coming out in Q4 after Zanadu. There's 3 of them. 2 of them are going to be Q4. 1 is going to be first half of next year, but I'll talk a little bit about that as well. And getting into, yeah, so Now Assist, there's 3 key features. One for CMDB, which is basically, think about Now Assist for CMDB is going to be summarizing information about CMDB data in a chat. So it can describe things it's connected to, things that are dependent on the CI, attributes. So basically it's a chat or a textual way of interacting with the CMDB. So that's kind of interesting, that's kind of cool. And the other one is a Service Graph Connector Central Now Assist feature that will allow you to better troubleshoot those connectors, to be able to identify root cause, get summary of the data that's coming through. So it's really to help organizations get up and running with those connectors much more quickly. And first half of next year, we're working on a CMD search expansion and Now Assist, and that's we already have some search capabilities that are tied into platform. The reason that's going to be pushed out a little bit from our current plan is we're working with our platform team to make sure that Now Assist Anywhere can pretty much tap into searching for CI data as appropriate, right? So if the use case calls for it and you need that CI data for any kind of Now Assist skill, that we're part of that ecosystem. And the last thing that I wanted to mention here, just to mention, is API Insights. This is a control go-to-market feature that brings data in from certain connectors, certain API sources such as gateways or middleware like MuleSoft, things like that, which you have API details and metadata, and we bring that in now as part of this API Insights. The main driver there is compliance. A lot of these APIs need to be managed centrally so you can make sure they're being governed, and you also have incidents and outages when APIs break. So all of that information is now part of that data model, and also API Insights as a new feature. That will be monetized as part of our subscription units, so kind of like the ITOM licensing will be required to do that. So that's kind of overview, just a little bit more detail on some of the stuff you're going to see in a minute here on the CMDB Health Dashboard redesign. It has been a complete redesign in the workspace. So what used to be forms and lists and PA is now just kind of part and parcel to the workspace. On the right-hand side of the workspace, if you have access, you can see a link to the health dashboards. And there's kind of a slight change in logic. We don't have an overall health score anymore. We have 3 different scores here, and those are calculated independent from one another. The 3 things are completeness, correctness, and compliance. And the old dashboards that are in there, they'll no longer be supported, and they will be deleted on zboot. So they won't be there on the zboot because by default we're no longer installing those. We now have this new user experience to replace them. If you do an upgrade, then you can still use the old ones, but just keep in mind all that data will just show up here automatically anyway, so it's kind of a moot point. Overall, so the failures are capped at 100,000 as well, and the reason for that is performance improvements, as well as if you're not, solving the first 100,000, what's the point of showing you another 100,000 if you got a lot more than that? So we wanted you to focus on fixing these things and following up with the data, and that's kind of a big part of that decision. And we've added additional ways of slicing the data based on discovery source and owner. So if you do have owners that are responsible for fixing this data, they can easily see their data in this particular view. And if you have certain issues with certain sources, you can kind of see that the source groupings and say, oh yeah, everything coming in from this source seems to be broken now. What gives? And you can kind of address it from there. So that's really all I wanted to cover before I hand it off to look at the health dashboards in more detail. And I did wanted to just kind of cover other things in Zanadu that we're doing in addition, and give you sort of an overview of what we've got here changing in the new dashboards.
This is brilliant. So powerful investments being made into CMDB for ServiceNow customers. And I'm really personally excited for not only this consolidated view in the workspace, but also looking forward to the Q4 release, leveraging Now Assist and natural language and machine learning and LLMs and all of that. That is super exciting. Mark, I appreciate it. Manideep, over to you for us to walk us through the live demo of the CMDB workspace with the key features.
Yeah, and just one little quick point on Now Assist. The Now Assist features will be available for any Now Assist license level. So you don't necessarily have a different SKU here to get Now Assist. We are allowing anybody that has Now Assist for any SKU, they can use, they'll get these skills as part of that.
Wow, even better. As long as it's part of the same SKU. This is brilliant. Manideep, over to you.
Thanks, Imran. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. First of all, I'm very excited to have all of us today. Zanadu release is the biggest release by ServiceNow. So especially in Zanadu release, CMDB Health is fully integrated into the workspace, and as well as the classic health reports and dashboards which we used before has been replicated in Zanadu release. So I'm going to quickly walk you through demo on the CMDB Health with CMDB Workspace in Zanadu release of the ServiceNow. So I have logged into the ServiceNow instance. This is a Zanadu release. So in Zanadu release, there are actually 3 ways to navigate to the CMDB Health. So the first way is, if you click on the all, you can search with the navigation, you can search with CMDB Health. So under CMDB Health Dashboard, so you have the option called Class View. So if you click on the class view, you will redirect it to the CMDB Health Dashboard within the CMDB Workspace. And the another way is the same. You can, in the navigation menu, you can search with CMDB Workspace. So you can click on the workspace. So you will redirect it to the CMDB Workspace. So in the CMDB Workspace, under Home tab, so if you come down, so under Quick Links, we have the option called CMDB Health Dashboard. And the last way is we can use the CMDB Workspace. So we can click on the CMDB Workspace from CMDB Workspace menu. So here, a CMDB is the place to monitor and improve the performance of the CMDB data. So here you can see the CMDB Health is redesigned in the CMDB Workspace with Zanadu release. So once you configure the CMDB Health and the CMDB Health dashboard jobs are enabled, the CMDB Health shows the meaningful data that is automatically collected and calculated on a recurring schedule. So here at the top right corner, we have the option called CMDB Health Settings. So you can simply click on that. You will redirect it to the CMDB Health Preferences tab. So under CMDB scheduled jobs, so we have the options. So by default, all these scheduled jobs are disabled. So we have to enable these jobs, and as well as we have to set the frequency of the health jobs as per our business need. So here, the CMDB health. The health of the CMDB is monitored and reported by these three KPIs, and each further consisting of submetrics. So first, let's talk with completeness. The CMDB Health Dashboard provides a completeness scorecard to help ServiceNow administrators to track which CIs and CA classes are missing key data. So in the completeness scorecard, the CIs are tested for required and recommended fields that are not populated. So here in the CMDB completeness scorecard, so the red portion in the donut report shows the count and percentage of CIs that failed the KPI test. And the green portion shows the count and percentage of completed or compliant CIs. So to view the calculated details, you can simply click on the eye icon. Here you can see the individual percentage of each matrix. So this is the required metric details and this is the recommended metric details. So required metric measures the percentage of CIs in which fields that are defined as mandatory or not populated. So here you can see out of 20 CIs, so 15 TSCIs are compliance. So recommended metric, it measures the percentage of CIs which fields that are set as recommended or not populated. So here I have defined the health inclusion rules to narrow down the scope of the health calculations. So we can include only required CI classes for the health calculation as per our business need. So in this completeness scorecard, so we have the total 20 CIs are part of the completeness because I have created an inclusion rules. So only for the particular classes. So if we click on the completeness scorecard, so in the bottom side, we have the two options, missing required attributes and missing required recommended attributes. So in the missing required attributes, so here, now I am going to show you the new feature with Zanadu release. So here the discovery source owner, the discovery source and owner perspectives have been added to new CMDB Health Dashboard. So under this missing required attributes, here you can see the different classes and as well the CI count. So here there are two CIs. Here two CIs, two Linux servers are missing required fields. And as well as here you can see this one CI is coming from ServiceNow and as well as one CI is coming from the Alteryx. And also the two CIs are managed by hardware group. So we can see the list of the CIs that are failing completeness scorecard. So, and for these CIs, we can generate the task, the required metric recommended task we can generate. So we can work on this and we can make them compliant. In the same way, we have correctness scorecard. So in the correctness scorecard, the CIs are tested against predefined data integrity rules such as identification rules to detect duplicate CIs, orphan CIs, and stale CI rules. So same, you can click on the eye icon, you can see the individual metric details. So duplicate CI metric measures the percentage of CIs in the CMDB based on the identification rule defined for each class, as well as orphan CIs. So the orphan CIs measures the percentage of orphan CIs because here you can define the orphan rule like if the application CI is not have not the relationship with the server CI. So when the application CI is not having the relationship with server CI, then that application CI comes under the orphan metric and as well as the stale CI metric. So the stale CI that exists in the CMDB but have not been updated in a specific period of time. So by the base system, we have the staleness rule defined for 60 days. And as well as if you click on the correctness scorecard, we can see the duplicate CA tab and orphan CA tab on the stale CA tab. And also we have the compliance. The data is audited for adherence to predefined certifications. In this, we have the audit metric. So audit compares the actual values of specified fields against the expected values defined in the templates. So if we click on the, if we have the audit results. So audit means, so for suppose here I defined the Windows servers should have the operating system is more than 2008. So if the Windows servers have not, if the Windows Server operating system is not 2008, then those years comes under the audit metrics. So we have the audit result here, and here are 3 Windows servers that are not part of the that are not having the operating system in 2008, and these 3 CIs are coming from ServiceNow, and these 3 CIs are managed by hardware. If you click on this number, we have the CI details, and for each CI details we have the task created for that one. So this is the following task. So as an administrator, CMDB manager, or the hardware group members can able to work on this one and make them compliant. So this is how the CMDB manager or CMDB the ServiceNow administrator can work on the health results and make them compliant using the CMDB Health Dashboard. Thank you very much. Over to you, Imran.
Thank you, Manadeep. This was a brilliant technical walkthrough of how to leverage the upgraded health dashboard, and you also covered some of the fundamentals as far as the 3 Cs, even the ones that customers that are utilizing Washington release or Utah today and are planning to migrate over to the Zanadu. I'm sure this session will be much appreciated. Just before we open the session, the floor for live questions and answers, I just want to point the direction of everybody, and we got a lot of attention by a lot of organizations in the last event. This is a 3-week CMDB assessment, and we would like for you to start your journey with Royal Cyber. And where we're going to be able to do a detailed assessment, which again contains a 3-week period. We'll start with this scoping questionnaire, a system review, integration review, and a customization review. Now, it can be standing up your CMDB. It could be reconfiguration of your CMDB, but more importantly, from a deliverable of an executive report, it will cover 3 important metrics. One, we'll illustrate the gap analysis. What are the underlying problems in your CMDB that need to be remediated, that need to be looked at, and are nice to have and a must to have? We'll certainly take a look at must to have to keep the lights on. We'll come up with a remediation roadmap, which could be several months to extending to a year, depending on your environment and your database. And then finally, we'll come up with an implementation plan or configuration plan to ensure that your CMDB is in a great shape, integrating automation and other automation integration layers to improve the health of your CMDB. And then with that, I'd like to open the floor for questions. I already see some questions coming in, and we'll try our best to answer all of those. Keep those questions coming in. In case we're not able to get to all of your questions in this session, we'll be sure to follow up with you after the session, and I appreciate all your time. Okay, opening the floor for live questions. Thanks everyone for engaging so far. We've got a lot of questions from the audience, and as committed from part 1. These are really tough questions. I'm going to go step by step, one by one. The first question, is the Zanadu product release ready to be upgraded to? We recently upgraded to Washington, and we're planning for Zanadu. The short answer is yes. The Zanadu release was rolled out on September the 10th, and you certainly can upgrade right away if you like. But if you need some help as far as preparing you for the next release and being able to leverage the key features of Zanadu, not just in CMDB but across the platform, we will certainly reach out and see how we can help you. Okay. second question, how does your CMDB assessment engagement work, and how long the engagement is for? And essentially, what are the outcomes? Great question. I just covered that a few seconds ago. It sounds like you joined the session just later, which is fine. Good to recap. So it's usually a 3 to 4 week engagement where we go deeper into your CSDM, CMDB particular tables, dependency views, service mapping, service graphs, the underlying services that go into your CMDB and how they're tied together. Then we look at the underlying health scores, the duplicates, identify those problem areas, come up with a gap analysis, and ultimately produce a assessment report that highlights a great, gap analysis and also remediation plan, as I discussed. So happy to send you some of the examples to you and a few of our other customers on this line of how those reports look like and what are the parameters that we usually look at. Great question, by the way. Okay, let me scroll down. This is a good question, really tough one. How does the next experience user interface enhance the functionality and usability of the CMDB Health Dashboard? If your Health Dashboard is implemented with the next experience user interface, it will provide you with a stunning, visually appealing, and a very intuitive way to monitor your overall health and integrity of the CMDB. So a couple things that I can think about is, in a nutshell, improve the user experience. So a lot more intuitive and being able to understand the CMDB health, right? A lot more of the customers that are utilizing this for is enhanced visualization. So you're maybe leveraging the dashboards already across the key metrics for the 3 Cs, but utilizing the next experience user interface, you'll have a much more powerful interactive charts, graphs, and other visual elements to present data in a more clear and concise manner. So in a nutshell, it will help you identify better trends, discover any anomalies, and remediate issues more easily. There's a lot more. There's some enterprises that are using next experience integration with enablement with CMDB for faster troubleshooting to identify the root cause and take corrective action. So those certainly are some of the features that I think the next experience offers, with the user interface offers, when you tie that together or leverage that along with the CMDB Health Dashboard. Great question. Okay, I'm scrolling down. How setting up the search on table field in an identification rule maintains CMDB integrity and prevents the duplicate CIs? You're talking about the search on table field. Yeah, no, I totally get that. So the search on table field, which is an identification rule, essentially it's an identification rule in the ServiceNow platform that specifies the table where the rule will search for matching records, right? And Mark, feel free to chime in. This question is regarding the search on table field in an identification rule that maintains the integrity, right? So we're just kind of leaning in on how it helps to prevent the duplicates configuration items in a platform CMDB. So data discovery and search on specified table. And if you want to chime in, go for it, Mark.
Yeah, I mean that's what the identification rule is all about. If you just use name by itself, that's often doesn't work really well because you may have duplicate names, but you may not have duplicate IP addresses, and that might be a good unique identifier for a server. So it really depends on the CI type and what you can count on as a unique element in order to prevent duplication when you're creating new data from different sources or whatnot. So that's kind of one of the main purposes for the IRE is to establish those rules per CI class, right, per CI type, and to basically mitigate those issues. Just a quick preview on what's coming. We do have some Now Assist capabilities coming in the next quarter and also first half of next year that will address some of those kinds of problems in terms of identifying why duplicates might have been created in the first place. If you haven't set up these rules effectively enough, or we're seeing data coming in from two sources and it's not jiving in terms of the primary keys that you identify from as a common element, then we will help identify how that's happening and why it's happening. So that's kind of a part of our roadmap to make that even easier, leveraging AI and machine learning to learn about your environment and why things might be going wrong with duplicates.
Excellent. Great response. Okay, more questions lined up, Mark. And you and I can contribute together. Should we upgrade to the Zanadu release to leverage the enhanced features of CMDB Workspace? We don't use Now Assist products today. Please advise.
Yeah, so Now Assist is a feature capability, and the CMDB Workspace is going to improve every release anyway. So I would definitely consider upgrading, because that is our home, our destination for all functionality going forward. The stuff that I reviewed, a little bit ago, and all our future roadmap elements are going to land in that workspace as well. So like Service Graph Connector Central, that's a new feature that will become part of the workspace when it's released. And you don't need Now Assist to use it. Now Assist will make it easier because you can chat. It's kind of a chat level level interface, but it's not necessary.
Fantastic. And for those of you who are asking these questions, thank you so much. If there is any question that is unanswered, you can feel free to re-ask that question or follow up. Feel free to do that. I'm already seeing the 2 follow-ups on the Zanadu, and that's great. And in case we're not able to get back to you today because there's so many engagements happening, we will certainly get back to you after this webinar. Mark, the next question is, can you talk a little bit about the new filtering options for the coverage charts on the CMDB 360 dashboard?
So the way that works is the CMDB 360 dashboard is there to help identify differences or overlaps or gaps between different sources of data. When you turn on multi-source, we record the raw data coming in from all those sources. We continuously improve the reports in order to filter and identify what's going on. This is another sort of pitch for Now Assist as well, because it really helps. It's a nice feature at the surface, but you're kind of looking for needles in the haystack to some degree, because there may be many attributes coming in from many sources. So you have to compare, contrast a lot of things to identify, where there's differences. What we're doing in the future releases is analyzing that data for you as part of that Now Assist SKU. It requires an AI engine to be able to evaluate the data at that scale and also produce recommendations on where we see things going wrong and to take action. So it is, the reason it needs to be kind of a Now Assist SKU is because we need a GPU to process that data, and it requires us to, spin up those GPUs for your data to run it through the process and then produce some results that you can work on. So that's kind of how it works internally, and that's why it's kind of a Now Assist SKU that gets you it's going to have the better analytics to be able to make the CMDB 360 views a little bit easier to kind of automate, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think one of the things you just mentioned in this webinar was they don't have. I mean, there isn't a separate SKU per se just for CMDB Workspace from a Now Assist perspective. As long as any enterprise is leveraging Now Assist today, they should be able to leverage the upcoming features of Now Assist integrated directly into CMDB Workspace and other underlying products. Right?
That's right. Once you have a Now Assist SKU, because we have a number of them, okay, the GPU is available. So we can start using it for CMDB, because the CMDB is out of the box, right? So it is installed by default when you implement ServiceNow as a platform. The difference is having that GPU and now a SysView in order to have the GPU to be able to run these processes.
You got it. Okay, the next one is, how do you run a CMDB assessment, Royal Cyber, at a customer? Anything that can be captured in a XML and be utilized with another organization / customers. I could take that. Now, like I expressed before, there's a whole lot going on with the detailed 3 to 4 week assessment, and we're doing this with a lot of enterprise customers as well as mid-size organizations that are leveraging and utilizing ServiceNow today, but certainly need a lot of help in CMDB. And so really helping them to reconfigure, re-implement, provide them the best practices, and essentially help them remediate and bring their 3C dashboards that's more meaningful, more actionable for the platform owners, the CMDB managers, the associated fulfillers, and everyone else involved in that group. Specifically, could that be captured in an XML, be utilized with another customer? The short answer is yes, but we're going to follow up with you to try to learn a little bit more about the end goal here. I can see there are potential ways to go about it. The shorter answer is yes, but again, we have to understand your environment and what the end goal is, and we'll go from there. Thank you for the engagement. Okay, that's pretty much all the time we had, everyone on this call. I do see 1 or 2 other questions, and we'll certainly get back to you via email and perhaps set up a one-on-one follow-up call. Just putting in a plug there, we are planning out a part 3 of the CMDB series, perhaps before this year end, sometime around November. So certainly be on the lookout for the links to be sent from our teams to take a look at part 3, and that will be a master series where we'll go really deep into CMDB. Everyone, thank you so much for your time, for chiming in, listening in, and understanding the key features of Zanadu, specifically for CMDB Workspace. Moneydeep, and especially Mark, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. It's been a great run, and we look forward to seeing you all in part 3. Have a nice day.